Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show. Welcome, Taisha Hunt over there. How are you today?
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm glad to have you on. Listen, everyone,
Thank
as you
you.
come in today, it's probably going to be one of the most difficult shows that I've ever done. But I am honored to be able to have Taisha on, Taemon Blair's mother. And so you know the routine when you come into the Kim Jacobs studio as a virtual studio audience member. I'd like for you to be able to share today's broadcast with your friends, your family, your coworkers, and with everyone actually, because today is going to be a direct message from Taemon Blair's mother. And I want this story to be shared everywhere universally. So go ahead and take a moment to share this broadcast with everyone you know, and we will get started so we don't miss any of our hour together. Okay? All right. If you have a comment, make sure you type in the comment section. We'll pull the comments in, and I may also be able to bring you in to the show as well. And so there is a link that's provided in the comment sections for you to be able to be brought right in to the studio as well. And this is how you would be brought in through StreamYard.com, and the information is right here as well. Okay. All right. Taisha Hunt is
Yeah, how are you?
is my special guest. How are you, Taisha? Now, so today on the Kim Jacobs Show, I'm going to let you hear primarily from Taemon Blair's mother. I'll let her share everything that she wants to share on today's episode so that we as a community can support her the way she needs to be supported. Many of you may have already heard of Taemon's situation, what happened in his life, but on March 14th, 2019, he was actually going to do a job in Fort Wayne, Indiana with a trucking company. He had already been so excited about starting his job and went to report for his job and didn't come home. So we know that he passed away. And that's what we're going to hear a lot more from his mom, Taisha, today. So welcome, Taisha.
Thank you.
Okay. So I want to start first of all with you're a mom. You're a mom of seven. And I want
Yes.
talk about being a mom and who you are and your family dynamics. Let's talk about that first.
Okay. Well, starting off, I lost two before I became, of course, a mother of five. And then unfortunately, I lost Taemon. Um, but I love my children with everything that I have. Just wanted to say that he was wanting to explore life, travel. He was very, very smart. Um, he wanted to go to college. That was his first things to do, and then things changed. You know, put out his past wasn't that great. Of course, children coming up sometimes they stumble across stumbling blocks, and
Yeah,
then but then he recovered pretty quick. He said, "Mom, turn my life around."
good.
And you know, so I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, I'm gonna graduate, and then Mom want to drive trucks." And I was like, "You don't want to go to college?" And he said, "I did, but I just want to see the world. I
Oh,
haven't really been nowhere, and you know, and I want to get a job to take care of my family." He has a girlfriend, and um, he got her pregnant, and he was like, "Mom told me the good news," and they were very happy and everything. And he was like, "I want to be able to take care of my family." So he graduated with a 4.7 GPA from
that's
Hardin
that's amazing.
University.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you know.
4.7. So he actually didn't just make a decision to change his life. He made a decision and really start marching in a whole direction of I'm not just going to change my life. I'm going to do an about face and do it with honors. 4.7 GPA from
Yes.
high school. Oh,
Yes, yeah, straight A's, honor classes. I was so proud. Me and my mom. we're like so important in his life. But we were so proud, and so he did that, and then he said, "Ma, um, I want to go to truck driving school," and I said, "Okay, well, let's see if you can do that." And he found a truck driving school, and then he did that, and he got a certificate. Showed me, I got my certificate, and then went and got a CDLs, and he went through everything, and he looked into where he wanted to actually work, and then he came up with a place in Tennessee, and he went on into finding a place where he wanted to work, and then they accepted him, and then there he goes. He starts driving trucks.
Wow. Okay.
He was driving for 2 weeks
Hmm.
before, um, his death, and um, he told me that he had to go to Pennsylvania, and I
Okay.
said, "Well, call me." Um, when he started driving, I said, "Call me when you get there and let me know. It's very imperative if you call me because you're by yourself,
That's right.
and I
That's
need to,
right.
I need to hear from you.
And so,
Period.
so
I
let
don't
me
care."
let me make sure with the audience that everyone understands that he was a young man that officially communicated heavily with you. So he
Yeah.
didn't just you get ghost and you didn't know where he was. He was
No.
unaccountable. He was not that
Right.
person. So when you told him to
No.
call you, he called you.
Yes. He
Mm-hmm.
called me. So he said, "Okay, Ma." So he called me March the 12th, and he said, "Ma," he said, I got dispatched
Okay. Was this his first
to
dispatch? Was this
no, 'cause he had did a couple of different runs before he went to Pennsylvania.
And so during those other several runs, working with the company
Hmm.
in Tennessee, everything went smoothly and he called back in and he was accountable to you. That mom, that was a great run type of thing.
Hmm. Yep,
Okay.
he did, and he said, something's wrong with this truck, so I'm gonna have to lay over, and they have to bring me another truck. And
Oh,
he had a trainer with him all this time. So the run going from Pennsylvania to Indiana, which was his next stop, he told me. He said he would
okay.
be by himself because I thought that he was going to be traveling by himself the whole time until he told me he had a trainer. Then he
Right.
called me, and they brought out another truck to Pennsylvania. So he had one truck, and then something wasn't all the way cool with that truck. So they brought him out another truck, and the um, trainer also left within 2 weeks. So I thought that was kind of strange, but
Do you know what
um,
the typical time frame is for trainers to stay with the
I, I don't.
Okay. But the
I don't.
point is
Yeah.
they felt good enough basically for him to get on
Hmm.
his own. He was ready. Here he is a straight A
Hmm.
student anyway, so he catches on quickly. So they were like,
Yes.
okay, we're gonna go ahead and let him out and do his
Hmm.
own thing. But then he had
Right.
technical difficulties with his truck
Hmm.
and he had to
First
lay
truck.
over.
Hmm. So they
Okay.
brought him out a truck, and he called me March the 12th at 6:30. And I said, okay. And he said, he said, "I'm calling you, let you know I'm on my way to Indiana." I said, "Well, you better call me." He said, "Mom, don't worry. I'm going to be home on the 15th,
Okay. So
March the 15th.
he gave you the date that he would be returning back home. On the
Hmm.
12th, he said, on the 15th, Mom, I'll be back. So don't worry about me.
Hmm.
I'm good.
Don't
And
worry, Mom. I said, so I gave him a pep talk. I said, "Listen, now that you are by yourself," I said, "I need for you to watch every move you make." I said, "Are you okay? Have you eaten?" He said, "Yeah, Mom, I'm good. Don't worry, Mom. I got it." I said, "Well, I don't trust, them little small towns and stuff. You be going, just like I spoke it or something." I just told him, I said, "Just be careful, watch your back." I said, "You never know when you roll up anywhere." I said, "You don't know who's watching you or what's going on." I said, "People get people and do all kind of different stuff to people. I said, just be careful. He said, Ma, I got it. I'm okay. In the tough talk, I'm all right, Ma. And it's over for people if they try me. And I was like, no, listen, things can happen differently. You're one person by yourself. Anything can happen.
So
He said, okay.
what was his state of mind when you were talking to him on March 12th?
He was
I'm
okay.
asking.
He was happy. He was happy. He was okay. He was like, I can't wait to get back home. Ma, I can't wait to buy the baby Pampers, and I can't wait. I can't this, I can't that. And I was just proud of him. I said, I know you can't. He said, I love Devon, Ma. He said, I can't wait to get back home to see y'all and everything. He said, I'll be back on the 15th. Don't worry. I'll call you when I get there. I said, okay. So um that's he told me I love you. He was able to tell me I love you. And I was so thankful that I got those words, because you never know what's gonna happen. So I said, call me when you touch down in Indiana, so I know that you made it. He said, okay. That's how he does. He checks in.
Okay.
So I waited. That morning came, which would be the 13th.
Okay. So now he left from, just so we paint the picture, from your perspective as a mother, the last time you spoke to your son was March 12th when he was heading from Pennsylvania to Indiana, correct? Okay, wait a minute. I think you're freezing, so I'm gonna go put you backstage for a second. Her camera froze on that end. So right now, oh here, Taisha,
Okay.
Taisha, you're right back there. I think somebody probably called in. When
Okay.
people call in, it's over. They're gonna break the connection some kind of way.
I hear. Yeah.
I know.
So
But okay,
okay.
so let's
So
start
yeah.
getting understanding where the audience at least gets an understanding. March 12th, you were talking to him. He was in Pennsylvania, heading to Indiana to get ready to do his load. He was in a good state of mind, excited about Devon and being able to get back home to be able to buy Devon some Pampers. And March 13th, you were expecting to hear from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
so take us from there.
I didn't hear from him. And I'm a mom that panics. When I tell my boys to do something, they 9 times out of 10 they do it.
Right.
Especially him. He's very, very overprotective. And so um I didn't hear from him on the 13th. I texted him. I said, call me and let me know that you made it. I
Right.
called. I didn't get no answer. Um the next day came, was the 14th. I didn't hear from him. I didn't get any answer. So I called again. I text. I said, boy, call me and let me know that you okay.
Right.
And I didn't get an answer, or I
Had
didn't get a
anybody else
response.
heard from him at this point between the
No,
12th
I
and the
called. I called Devon. I called Mom. Nobody heard from him. And so the next day was the 15th. Approximately about 3 o'clock in the evening, I was going to go pick up my grandson from school. And I got a call from my son, my 19-year-old son. And he said, Ma, you don't like for us to give out your number, but it's a lady that contacted me, and she said she got my number off of Facebook from Duke's page. We call him Duke. That's his nickname.
Okay.
But I wouldn't give her your number, so I'm calling on three-way. And I said, oh, she's on the phone? He said, yeah. And I said, okay, hello. And she said, well, hey, how are you? I said, how you doing? I said, who am I speaking with? And she told me her name. And she said, she's from the coroner's office. And she says, I'm sorry that I have to be the barrier of bad news, but I have to do my job. And I got nervous. And then she told me, she asked me, are you Taemon Blair's mother?
Mm.
And I said, I am. And she said, okay, well, I have to unfortunately let you know that Taemon is deceased. And everything just, my stomach got in a sick, like I just dropped.
Mm.
And, I just, everything just went crazy. Like I was driving, urinated all over myself. I just stopped the car and I screamed and I said, oh my God, Lord Jesus, I know this is not what you're doing to me. I said, how? I said, where are you? I thought she said Fort Worth. That's what I thought I heard. It was just crazy. But um she got to talking and then she turned and then she said it again. That she gave me all the information, told me, calm down. She gave me her number, her cell number, and she said, call her back. And when I got a chance to calm down and, kind of get my nerves and stuff together. And then when I did, I called her back and I asked for her and everything. And she says, I said, okay, so where is he again? And she says, Fort Wayne. I said, I thought you said Fort Worth. And she said, no, it's Indiana, Fort Wayne. And she says, I want to say that they have actually, they're saying that it looks like a suicide.
Hmm.
We have to get back in contact with you a little later and let you know the details and everything. But um,
Let me ask you a question right there, real quick, because I see over here my studio audience, and so there are comments coming in. Sean Hall said, this is crazy. The coroner doesn't call to announce that people are deceased. The police department does. So did the police department ever call you and notify
no,
you?
not one time. No, not one time. A Shortly after, maybe about a good hour or so later, a detective called and well, he didn't state his name, and I was just still tore up. And I'm like, he said, well, we're investigating. They said that the ambulance came up on the scene first, and I asked were there any cameras, anything, and this person stated that they are cameras, but they like kind of move cameras or something. They
Mhm.
only record when somebody's actual move or something.
Right.
And but he said it looks like it could be um, foul play. We're not 100%. I'm not the lead detective, but we will be giving you a call back after we're finished investigating everything. I said, okay. I said, well, I need a number or something. And then he said, I'll be calling you back. So he's like rushing off the phone. I got on off the phone and I just sat by the phone waiting. I went on and picked my grandson up, and then I made the call to my mom. And I told Mom, I said, Mom, I need for you to sit down. I was still hysterical and crying and going on, and I told her, and she just screamed. I couldn't get it together, so I went to the house and I just waited and I just waited. I didn't hear anything from anybody anymore, so it was like I'm gonna call. I'm gonna start back calling. So
Hmm.
I called the coroner's office and I said, "Well, why do you think it's a?" She answered the phone and I
Mhm.
said, "How you doing?" And I called her cell so I could get to her, right?
Mhm.
Because she gave me her cell. And I said, "Well, how are you?" And she said, "Fine." I said, "Well, why do you think it's a suicide?" And she said, "Because he was hung in the back of his cab with his pajamas." I said, "Okay." I haven't seen any kind of pictures, no nothing, no this, no that. She said, "Well, we will not release him until you to a funeral home until you tell us that you're ready for us to release him."
So
And so,
let me ask, what happened? Did you when you got to Fort Wayne, Indiana, to see him? What happened then?
no, I didn't get to go. I didn't get to go to Fort Wayne. They told me that they would have to send his body this way, and I would have to pay uh, to get his body shipped. But before they ship him, they would have to embalm him before they shipped him, and it would be this amount of money. And I said, well, wait a minute. I said, what about an autopsy? Did y'all do an autopsy on him? And she said, no. Why would you need an autopsy if we're saying we're letting you know that it's clearly a suicide? I said, no, he still needs an autopsy. Anybody that passes away needs an autopsy so I can know exactly what's going on. Then she goes on to say, well, it's like $4,500 to get one, and I didn't have that kind of money at the time. Um, so I talked to a couple of family members and see if I could get it up, and we just didn't. Nobody had it. So I said, well, I looked around on the internet to see where Fort Wayne was and what was close to Fort Wayne, in Fort Wayne, as far as the funeral homes and things. And I found a funeral home.
Okay.
And so I called the funeral home and I talked to like 3 different funeral homes, and I found one that I was comfortable with, and I asked, if that was okay for them to release his body there, and then I would find one for them to ship his body back to North Carolina. And then he said yes, and that's fine, and he gave me the cost and everything, and we got all the money together to do all that. And he told me that definitely he would have to be embalmed before they put him on the plane.
Okay.
But from my understanding, without an autopsy, and if he was to be embalmed,
right,
that then would get rid of evidence.
That's right.
So I was kind of cautious, and I was like, well, you can't just send him without, and then when he gets here to this funeral home, they can't then embalm him.
Right.
And he said, well, no, we can't that way. But he said he'll embalm him because he has so much tragic stuff go on this way. He said they are going to embalm him through his femur, through his thighs.
Okay.
Okay. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so therefore, if you do come across anything, or somebody comes across some money and they have to do an autopsy, and that his death was asphyxiation, that they could, even with being embalmed, that they could kind of tell what was really going on, or however. And I said, okay, are there pictures that can be released? I had to find a lawyer.
And you were doing all of this over the phone. You did all of this over the phone.
Yeah, I was talking to them about I told them, I said, I'm gonna have to find a lawyer to see if we can't get pictures, or I need to see what he looks like. I said, don't clean him up, don't touch him. They said, well, we have to clean as much as we can, as far as any kind of blood or anything that was on him. But when he gets there, I said, I want him just how you got him. And so he said, okay. So he said, okay. And I got in contact with a funeral home here, and I told them the same thing. I said, when he gets off of the plane, I want him just like y'all got him. I don't want y'all to touch him. I want to see for myself if anything's on him, any kind of if any bruises or anything, whatever, I want to see what it is.
So you wanted your son brought back to you to be able to physically see him, because you thought that it wasn't suicide, or you thought, what did you want that? Why did you want him to come back untouched?
He would not commit suicide. In my heart and my mind, I know this without a shadow of a doubt. My child was so happy, to the point where he wanted to work and provide and do for his family. He knew he had a baby coming. He had this beautiful girlfriend with his beautiful child in her stomach. Everything in the world, he was going to be a provider, no matter what. That's what he was on. He was, adamant about, Mom, I'm coming on back on the 15th. Don't worry. Told me he loved me, all of this. So I know for a fact that my child didn't do that.
That's very important. That's a very important comment to have the audience and everyone that's watching this video and this show today. Is Taemon Blair, according to his mother, Taisha Hunt, She 100% believes that her son would never commit suicide from her own words. So I want to go to a couple of studio audience comments because there's a lot of them flooding in, and I want to make sure you get a chance to see some of those comments, Taisha, and maybe comment on any of them. Let me see. GoFundMe or something, I would have gotten to my child. Yes, this person wants to know about GoFundMe. Is there a GoFundMe or anything that's available? Because I do want to make sure we share that with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so
Yes.
Morgan, put the GoFundMe information up and we will share that with you all in today's broadcast. Thank you for explaining. Amen. I know that and do not give up on what you know to be true, is what Kristen Lewis is saying. These are just words of encouragement. They always go to suicide with hanging because it's hard to prove otherwise, just like those men out west recently. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like they swept it under the rug. And when I say that, I tried to contact the police department to talk to the lead detective on the case, and they would not. I kept getting assistant or lady, and she
Mm-hmm.
kept putting me on hold. Then the phone would hang up. Then I called back, and then they wouldn't answer the phone. It was like I did this for 3 weeks straight, 3 weeks straight, and I didn't get nobody. And then the girl answered the phone one day, and she stated, "Well, he's not in." Or I said, "How is a detective not in?" By this time, we had got a lawyer, and so I had my lawyer to call, and he called from a different number that he had,
Mm-hmm.
and the detective answered the phone, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't answer the phone when I called right before that, and
Okay.
I blurted out, "So you're screening calls, so you're not going to answer my call, but you'll answer a call that you don't know with a different area code." And then my lawyer did me like this, like, "I got this." And then he asked the detective, the lead, "Are you the lead detective?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Okay, why hasn't she received a call from you all?
Right.
In at any point in time, she's been calling for 3 weeks." And he states, "Well, we have closed the case. The case is ruled a suicide." And he was like, "You closed the case and you didn't call to tell the mother that you closed the case?" He said, we got questions and we need answers. Do you have any kind of pictures that you could send us since you closed the case?" "Oh no, those pictures will have to be subpoenaed." "If you close the case and you've already said this is a suicide, then why can't we see the pictures? I'm his mom. I would like to know, why can't I see the pictures at the scene, at the crime scene?" Well, we had made several attempts to get money together to go forward, to go up there. And then we had um, situations where we had an activist that put together, we were supposed to go up to have with the news media and everything was supposed to be involved. And then he disappeared on us, didn't call back or anything. And it made us look kind of stupid.
Mm.
So we just didn't have the funds to do anything. And at that point, and then I said, "Okay, I'm gonna have to do this by myself." Then the lawyer that I did have stated that he talked to the corner, and the corner had the phone, and she stated that they had evidence in the phone, and that made it seem to where Taemon might have wanted to do this to himself and all this. I said, "So I need his phone sent here, his clothes sent here. What clothes did he have on?" I need to know all those questions. Well, they wouldn't get back in contact with me. Now the corner stopped answering the phone.
Okay.
So then,
It froze, Taisha, but definitely, probably somebody's calling you again. Everybody watching this broadcast, stop calling Taisha's phone just for this 1 hour, okay? Because she's trying to do this interview and it's blocking the interview. Okay, let me make sure that you all know that while she's coming back into the screen, that there is a GoFundMe set up. I've put it in the comment section, and so you can see that GoFundMe. And it's right there with the information for you to be able to, for those that are listening, is http://gf.me /u/YFV. P is in Paul, V 4V. YFVP is in Paul 4V. Okay. And that's where you can donate immediately to be able to support Taisha and what she is going through regarding her son, Taemon Blair. And again, I am providing an opportunity for her to share her story as a mother. And that's what she's coming on the Kim Jacobs show to do, is to tell you from her perspective whether she believes her son committed suicide or was some foul play of some sort, whether he was murdered, whatever happened from her perspective, she wants you all to know. And so I'm going to put her back into the screen to let her continue to speak with you all. Taisha, and thank you. I see a lot of people are calling you, and I knew people would be calling, and we tried to block that from happening, but it's still is getting through. Let me go to a couple of these audience comments because people are asking a lot of questions. Good morning, Chantel. A lot of people tagging people here and saying, great morning, two strong ladies. And speaking of strong ladies, Mario, let me be clear. Everybody that knows me knows that I have my 12-year-old son, Gabriel Michael Jacobs, passed away, but he passed away of a heart defect. And I had no idea that he even had that heart defect. And it drove me bananas. I mean, it drove me batty, Taisha, for my son to pass away. And even though I know how he passed away, for him to pass away, and I did not know he even had that disorder, it sent me into oblivion. I'm not even exaggerating. So I know that what you're going through is a million times worse because you don't know how he passed away, according to you, right?
Right, right. I just know that when he actually got to me, we scheduled for him to be sent to North Carolina. When
Okay.
he actually got here, um, the lady at the funeral home said, "Okay, you can come and view." That Monday morning,
Okay.
my mom, we all met up at the funeral home, his brothers and everything. We went in. The pictures was so, like, I could just look at him and take pictures in my head. They cleaned him up a little bit, but they didn't touch him. Far as the funeral home, they just opened him up, the bag up, and let me see him like he was when he got off the plane. And the cut on his neck was it looked like somebody pulled something through his neck. It wasn't no pajamas. Then it was from ear to ear. Then on his arms, he had embrasions, look like rope wrapped around his arm. And several comments that the corners released comments that his hands wasn't and his wrist wasn't bound, and that his neck wasn't cut from ear to ear. I'm his mother. I took pictures of my own. He had bruises of fingerprints. He had his leg was broke. He had I could see a little bit of where he had like blood on his mustache. Um, he had a ribbon wrapped around his, where his stomach and like right below his chest area.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't think to turn him over. We didn't think to turn him over, but um, we are working on um, help, and I'm asking anyone out there that knew him or that don't know him,
Mm-hmm.
that knows me, that knows what kind of mom I am, that knows that I'm gonna fight to the end till I find out what happened to my child. Um, if any help, anything could help for us to get him exhumed, for a forensic pathologist to for his autopsy, because I want to still get one. After they raise them up, um, a lawyer, attorney fees, anything, everything helps
Okay.
at this point. And I'm still fighting. It's been a year already.
Yeah, that's what I was going
And
to. It's been
mhm,
over a year. What have like
mhm.
local and state officials done in North Carolina or Indiana since this time has passed? Has anybody helped and come reached out? And what support are you receiving from state and even local officials in both areas?
The police department had the nerve to get on um, the phone with one of the advocates and stated that if we come to Indiana, for us to get in contact with the coroner's office. But we're not getting in contact with the coroner's office because the coroner is not the police. We need a detective and the chief of police to talk to, not the coroner's office. They're trying to avoid speaking to me because they don't want to talk, because they don't want to say the wrong thing. And then we find out what's really going on. I
Hmm.
feel like I want to get another um, different FBI involved because I don't trust the FBI up there either because I feel like all of them are intertwined together. I don't trust none of that. And because you were so quick to close this case, wasn't no investigation. Like nobody called me back like the so-called detective stated that he was. I feel like whoever that was threatened. You better not call her back type stuff before he was even thought about because he wasn't the lead detective and the lead detective won't even talk to me. The police, nobody at that department in that area, nobody won't answer no questions, won't talk. I asked about the pictures. Well, can we get the pictures? We have to have them subpoenaed. Oh, they're in the bureau and all kind of stuff. The evidence is put up because the case has been closed. Like you trying to figure out a way for us to get up there. And I've read different people's little boys that have been murdered and that has been in um, towns of this nature that
Hmm.
are stated to be racist, and they go and try to dib and dab and try to look around and find out what's going on and end up missing. People end up missing.
Hmm.
So I can't go by myself at this point, but I'm coming to find out what's going on with my child. I don't care how long it take me, but I'm gonna find out and see, you know, from that being said, a lot of people and friends and family say, just let God deal with it. Um, things will come about. He'll fix it, and I understand that. But if I can be a help to help fight, to help fix it with
That's right.
God, with His hands on me, and making sure I'm all right. If it's my time, it's my time, and that means my life being taken. I'm gonna find out what happened to my child. If it's my time, then it's my time.
Well, I can
But
tell you that every mother worth her weight would fight to the end to determine
mhm,
if you have even an inkling that something's not right from your perspective as a mother, there's nothing anybody can tell you differently than
mhm,
to go after justice to the very obviously to the very best of your capabilities with the help of God until you feel satisfied with the outcome. So I know
mhm,
I'm only a show host here, allowing you a platform to be able to share your story. But
mhm,
there's nothing that would stop any mother that I personally know from going to the ends of the earth to find justice. Let me go to a couple of more audience comments. I'm speechless. I have an adult son, and I can only imagine what you're going through. My heart aches for you because in your gut it tells you that his death did not happen that way because you know your son and you have no way of proving the justice for your son. It has to be devastating and hard to live with, but prayers for you and your family.
oh, thank you. Yeah, you're right. 'Cause he first and foremost, he's 6'5". He was 21. His birthday is August 27th. So he just turned 22 this past August 27th. Then his baby was born on August 29th, 2 days after his birthday. And when I say that baby looked just like my son, I say, for whatever reason, God took him. he left a legacy, and I'm so thankful to have my baby, my grandbaby.
And you say his name is Devon.
No, his name is Taemon Blair Jr.
Oh, Taemon Blair Jr. Okay. Oh,
Hmm.
oh.
Yeah,
So his legacy will
the
live on
mother.
right through Taemon Blair Jr. My God.
Hmm.
My
And
God.
we call him TJ, and it just hurts. I'm looking at all of this that's coming out, and George Floyd, they taped what happened here, and they still didn't get first degree. They still didn't get first degree.
Wait, say your comment
And
one
I
more
know my
time because
son
it
was
froze.
strangled.
So I don't want any of your comments to
Okay.
be this. What did you just say about George Floyd?
I was saying that his was taped. His death was taped. And my son, from what I understand, I heard of a somebody had taped the situation and actually posted it, and they took it down like twice on the 15th. But I have searched and we've roamed the internet, and we just cannot, nothing's popping up. So we don't have any kind of footage showing anything. But if we would have had that footage that they stated that they saw my son get out the truck and walk, it's just a bunch of lies that they state that he didn't get out the truck. He never got out the truck. But then his truck was parked on the parking lot of a trucking company where he came to pick up his load.
Oh,
From what we understand and the questions that we've talked and asked, were there cameras? I've called that place, and they stated we do have cameras. They say the detective has the footage of the camera, and then the camera was the type of camera that um, only moved off motion.
okay.
Then I said, well, if he didn't get out the truck and the truck was parked on the parking lot of the truck and place where he's supposed to pick up, then how did the truck get moved to 1900 block of Bluffton Road? Somebody moved it with him in it. But if y'all stating that he did this to himself and he never got out the truck and y'all found him here and y'all found him there, well, then how did the truck move from the cameras that was motion cameras on the trucking company's parking lot to down the street on 1900 Bluffton Road?
So
So see, there's a glitch right there. So
yeah,
somebody had to move it.
who did they say who moved the truck?
No, they lies and say that he never got out the truck, and all of a sudden and mysteriously it just vanished off of their property down here to 1900 Bluffton Road. They can get out of here with that.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pieces of this puzzle, and there's a lot of comments coming in, everyone. I want to make sure that I get a chance to, I really did want to get everybody's comments, but it's hard to, I
But
see so many.
what I was saying with him being 6'5", he can't hang himself in a truck being 6'5". It's not even room in the back for him to do that. Um, I mean, it's just,
Yeah, he
I
is
can't
six
even.
five. He's 6'5" in his 18-wheeler, and he hung himself according to the coroner's report. That's what they're saying is the outcome.
They and they said with pajamas, but his neck opened up like a Pac-Man. So pajamas don't do that from ear to ear. And if he was hung, or if he hung himself, and a rope or something was hung around his neck, it would go all the way around his neck. It wouldn't just stop from there to there. So it looks like he was strangled with
Hmm.
something.
Okay, so what do you need from the community right now? I want to make sure that what you need you get from our audience and from everyone watching this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. What do you need?
Well, as far as my son, I want justice. I want to find out. what happened to him. I want to um, find out uh, who's behind it, why the police people won't talk to us. I want to know why. Um, I want to know, why would you take my child's life?
Mhm.
Um, Even though you state that it's a suicide, why it was swept under the rug? Why was the case closed so early? Why would nobody talk to us? Why couldn't we see the pictures? Um, how did the truck get from this point, from A to B, all the way to Bluffton Road, but it was parked and nobody got out the truck? I want the camera footage. I want to know, um, you know, when he arrived. I want to know the time of his death, specific time of his death, because they said the 14th. But then
Mm.
from what I'm understanding and how I read the reports from the funeral home of the Corners, they pronounced him dead on the 14th at 11:45. But
Okay.
then he was gone for a whole 12-hour period. So that means metamorphosis done set in. So that
Right.
means he was in that truck longer than they asked his death. So when did he actually die? So with that being a 12 period era, that means he passed away on the 13th,
Mm.
from what I'm understanding. But that comes into investigation, and why couldn't they investigate and find out that properly?
Mm.
um I want to know, and I have speculation that his organs were tampered with. I want to know if they're gone. That's one of the reasons why I want an autopsy, because on the back of him, it was a bandage wrapped around and it was blood like seeping. I don't know if that was the embalming fluid or was that just extra blood that seeped out. But if it's seeping out from the back, then was he cut from the back? Because he didn't have no autopsy. So it wasn't no cut or no crosses or nothing in the front. So how
Mm.
is he seeping from the back? And they take out organs from the back. We are not professionals. We don't have the kind of money to go and see that. So we, um, as his family, when I say we, don't know until we get a autopsy, and so that's what we are going for, to get him exhumed, pull him up, and have a autopsy and um, find out. And I want to be there. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't know if you should be there. It's gonna stick to you, for the rest of your life." That's my child. I had that baby. That baby came out of me. I'm strong enough to go in there and see for myself,
That's right.
um, with an examiner,
Mhm.
to make sure that it's okay for me to be in there when they do it. I'm strong enough to go through that, and I'll be okay, because he's mine. If
Yes.
you have a child, and he gets hurt, no matter if something split open or anything, you as the mother or the parent are strong enough to go in and see what's going on with your baby, whether he's alive or deceased, or
Yes.
whether he got crosses or anything.
More calls are coming in, and I know so many people are pouring out support to Taisha Hunt right now. And so obviously she needs all the support that she can get. And in this time, because this is a very trying time for her and her family. And so I'm going to remove her from the screen until I see see that the glitching has stopped. I'm popping just some of your comments up. And what would you do? What do you mean? Why would he need an autopsy? It's a lot of different comments that are coming in. And so Taisha will be able to see your comments later throughout today, and she may be able to go back and comment on some of those. The most important thing here is make sure you share. Taisha, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure you share today's broadcast with everyone you know. Let people know that her sharing her story is not just in vain. In honor of her son, Taemon Blair, she wants justice. She wants to find out what really happened to her son, from a mother's gut instinct, and then whatever attorney help she's going to have, she's going to continue to fight until she gets to the bottom line of what happened to her child from her perspective as mommy. It's not about an attorney or anybody else. As a mother, she knows whether her
Mhm.
child would commit suicide, and she does not feel that he did. Make sure if there was a message, Taisha, that you could share. Let me make sure that she gets a chance to come back in. Let me share while we're waiting. Today's sponsor of the Kim Jacobs Show, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I share that with you all, is Silver Shield Security. So Silver Shield Security, they have no contracts that's required, no credit check is needed. The phone number is 704-440-4688. Plans start as low as $24.99, and they have state of the art equipment. So you definitely want to try to reach out to Silver Shield Security. Here are some of the different pieces of equipment they offer. No credit check, no contracts. That's today's sponsor. If you do decide to use their services, make sure that you put KJ Show as the actual code that you use. KJ Show is the code that you would use. And subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show. And you can do that by going to YouTube and just simply subscribing and turning on your notifications. Let me bring Taisha. Taisha, you're back on. All right.
Mhm.
So now, Taisha, if you get an opportunity to speak with or get your message out to people like T.I. and Killer Mike and Sean King and Don Lemon, you talked about him, different
Mhm.
ones that are celebrities that would see this message directly from Taemon's mom, Taisha Blair.
Mhm.
What would your message be to them, those celebrities that could really take this information and go big with it, much bigger than I could?
I would like to say that y'all are a important, strong voice for the community, for young Black men that's 21, 18 or older, that would, they listen to you all, to be the voice to get out there, far as my child, um, to be careful to watch every move that you make, that when you go somewhere, watch watch your surroundings, watch who's following you, just in general. It's not about being paranoid, it's about being safe. I would like for them to be the strong voice behind our young fellow Black young men, to be strong. We To be behind me 100%, be behind Taemon's brothers, to fight this case, to be power, um, to not let things just go unanswered. We got to fight this until we find out what happened to him. Not just only my son, other young Black men that has been taken and killed and murdered, and so on and so forth, and young Black women. Uh, but they have the voice um, to make other people listen and understand that this is not a game. This is happening all over the world, not just
Mhm.
America, but all over the world. But where we reside right now, it's happening now. Um, and I want to be able to say, I want justice. I want his son to be able to understand that they found and they caught the people that did this to him. I want his baby mother and fiance to have some peace. I want to have peace. I want my mother to have peace. I want the boys to have peace. Just like any other mom would want for their children, son or daughter, um, because it's got to stop. And the voice and the message is, this has to stop. I could be a mom that's speaking out for somebody else's child, that if we get it out there, that maybe it could prevent or open up somebody's eyes, and it could prevent somebody else from getting um, taken, because they had their eyes open a little bit more, or they wasn't moving so carelessly, or might have left doors open, or not watched their back if they by themselves and somebody just walked up on them, or somebody just did something to them or threw them in the trunk, or whatever the case may be. But we have to stop these people from doing anything to our young Black men and Black women. And if they do, we need to fight with everything that we have, receive justice, take them down so they can't do it to the next person.
Well,
Can't do it to the next person.
I think that you are strong enough for the task, and I can see that you're full equipped with everything that God could equip a mother with to be able to
Mhm.
say enough is enough, and you're just not gonna allow it to be on your watch as a mother. And
Right.
I'm so proud of you as a mother, because from one mother to another mother, I'm honored that God would even give you the wisdom to attempt to bring justice to your son's life and legacy, knowing that you know he wouldn't do this. It's one thing if you're like, yeah, he was in this mode, he was really going through, and there's a strong possibility that he did this, but you're like, I mean, there's nothing about this conversation that says that you have any question.
No,
No question
I
whatsoever.
know. I know for a fact he didn't do it.
Hmm.
I just got to prove it, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna prove it.
Listen, everybody, share this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show with everyone that you can get this message to on behalf of Taemon Blair's mother, Taisha Hunt. Let her voice be resonate throughout America, throughout the world, that justice needs to be provided for Taemon Blair. Hashtag Taemon Blair. Hashtag justice for Taemon Blair. Get this to every celebrity that you can get it in the hands of. Tag people. Let people know this mother does not think that her son committed suicide. No, that's not what happened in her perspective. Okay. Let me say, his blood still speaks. His blood is gonna still speak. His blood speaks through you. Please go share the GoFundMe, that not just support the show, but provide money to be able to help Taisha Hunt meet the goals that she needs. Provide so much money that it exceeds her expectations, that she's able to do what needs to be done to be able to seek justice for her son. So GoFundMe is in everywhere. You can see exactly where to go ahead and start donating immediately. We're still hurting from the unknown, and this is your mom saying that.
Yeah.
You want to say anything to your mom on here? I saw his neck. Yeah. I don't believe he hung himself. Yeah. And this is your grandma. This is grandma here. So even
Mhm.
though grandma is not physically on the show right this second, Miss Ella Dalton, we we actually, Miss Ella, we hear you. Your voice is resonating through the show today. And as grandma, we're praying for you and for the entire family, Taemon Blair's entire family, all of his siblings that are still here wanting justice, his baby boy, Taemon Blair Jr., his fiance, everybody. Um, that's what I said. Try it. Nothing beats a fail than a try. So you're going to continue to just do this. Sean, can you put the GoFundMe again? Yes, the GoFundMe is in the comments section. Make sure you see that. Praying that the spirit of peace will flood your soul as you go through this painful process. And this is a mother that's over like 95 churches in the women's department of the Church of God in Christ, and she's praying for
Thank you, Miss Patricia.
it. Sounds like Al Sharpton case. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna need some people to get in here and take this ball and really run with it for it to be the outcome that you're looking for. My heart goes out to the family. Guys, there are so many comments, and it's not that I'm not trying to put them up. I want all of your comments up, but we're not going to be able to impose and I'm not going to be able to pop them all on today. I did see something about the Million Youth March in Charlotte, and I'm trying to get to that comment, but I don't even know. There's so many comments. But I see that the Million Youth March supports you today, and their prayers are with you. My heart
Thank
goes out.
you.
Yeah, a lot of people are commenting. It's so many comments. You have so much support in the Charlotte and surrounding areas around the world, actually. People want justice to be served for your son. Any other comments that you'd like to share?
That that he gets justice. That's my focus. so I can have peace, so our family can have peace, so the world can understand that, you know, that somebody's just not letting it go, you know, and that we can have peace and understand that
Here's the GoFundMe page again, guys. I'm going to make sure you see that because that's where it's needed. Put some financial support towards Taisha Hunt in her endeavor. And here's the GoFundMe information. Make sure you support her financially so that she can accomplish the goals that she has set out for her son. Um, let's see, are you on there, Taisha? And she's getting so many phone calls as well. So here, I think she's back on. Taisha, are you back
mm-hmm.
on? I'll wait till you get situated so I don't put you on the screen. Make sure you know that we have our Quest Church prayer line from 12 to 12:30 Monday through Friday. Pastor Jacobs is praying for COVID-19 situations, people that are in isolation, people that are in literally still being impacted with this disease. You can definitely call in the prayer line 978-990-5000. Access code is 322-083 pound. And I'm going to go ahead and pull Taisha back into the stream. Okay, Taisha.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. All right.
Hey.
I knew you were going to get 1,000 calls because so many people are flooding you with love and support, and they're encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Thank
final
you.
comments or anything else that you want us to know, to do, anything?
I just want the male voices, the celebrities, his friends, to speak out, to get in contact with the people that we can't get in contact with, to make this known, uh, um, to speak for him, to speak for us, to fight with me, to be the voice and the power when we can't be. Um, Anybody that can help, friend, family, anybody in the world that can stand behind us with everything. Um, let's fight. Let's get justice.
You guys hear that right from Taisha Hunt's mouth as mom. She said, let's get
Hmm.
some justice for her son, Taemon Blair.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you, Taisha, for feeling comfortable enough to come on the Kim Jacobs show and share your story. I
Thank
know it
you.
wasn't.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being on today. Listen, everyone, tune in again Monday through Friday of next week to the Kim Jacobs Show. We have all new shows available for you to be able to watch Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show. But most importantly, pray for the Blair family. Pray for Taisha Hunt and her quest to learn the truth about her son, Taemon Blair. Please make sure you do that. And as we close out today's episode, I am going to, because I know part of his goals and dreams was to be able to sing, right?
Yes.
I found that
Yes.
out. And
Yeah.
as we, I'm so glad I brought a smile to your face. Yes. In this very deep, dark mystery of what's happening with Taemon Blair, I thought it would just be appropriate to close out today's episode hearing a song right from Taemon. He was sneaking out on at his job, and he was like, "Let me get outside for a few minutes." And I want to play this for you guys, and then we're going
Okay.
to close today's episode. I am going to come back just to give you the final word, and after we play this quick clip, okay? But I'm so glad you're smiling. We're going to go to this clip right quick, guys. People can still see you, Taisha, but let's
Okay.
okay. This is Taemon Blair, Taemon Duke Blair singing
Hmm.
Love cover. There you go, guys. Let's see. Love, there's so many things I've got to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know how.
Cause there's a possibility that you look at me differently, love. Ever since the first moment I spoke your name, from then on I knew that by you being in my life, things were destined to change. Good love, so many people use your name in vain. Love, and those who have faith in you sometimes fall astray. Love, through all the ups and downs of joy and hurt. Love, for better or worse, I still will choose first. Oh, 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 oh. Many days I've longed for you, wanting you, yeah. Hoping for the chance to get to know you. Longing for your kiss, you feel for your essence, yeah. Many nights I've cried from the things you do. Felt like I could die from the thought of losing you. I know that you're real, with no doubts and no fears and no questions. Oh yeah, so many people using them. Love.
Oh my gosh. Taemon, Duke
Oh.
Blair,
Mhm.
your legacy will live on. We do not, love will cover, love will cover this situation too. You were singing your own eulogy here, and what a great note to go out on. Love covers everything.
Mm, that's
I want
right.
the closing comments, and we're going to close out this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. All right. You have anything else you want to say, or we're going to just go ahead and close out?
I just thank you so much. They just thank you for everyone. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support. Thank you for any and everybody for anything that you do for him, me, my family, everything. Thank you, Miss Kim. I thank Sean Hall. I thank all of you. Ti, thank you for sharing when this first happened, and thank you, Big Boy, and everybody else that was involved. I appreciate everyone. I'm so thankful. But until this comes to a halt, I will never stop fighting until I find out what happened to him. That's just what it is, even if it means my life.
There you
Thank
have
you.
it. Go donate now to the GoFundMe to help Miss Taisha Hunt regarding her son, Taemon Blair. And let's find out what happened to Taemon Blair. God bless you all. Tune in Monday at 11 o'clock a.m.